To think that I'm getting paid for the next 15 minutes of fun that I'm going to have with a good friend and a true national treasure and a great national caliber talent. He is Todd Starnes, Fox News Channel All-Star, FoxNews.com All-Star, and of course his commentaries legendary here on Hurley in the Morning and throughout WPG Talk Radio 1450, South Jersey's talk station. We have so much to talk about. We have, of course, I called it the kiddie table. Now everybody seems to be saying kiddie table. Todd's been calling it kiddie table from the beginning. I wouldn't want to be a part of that kiddie table thing. If you're not at the big table, if you're on the folding card table, that's I mean, it's embarrassing. And then of course we have the top 10, and we'll be covering it live right here on WPG Talk Radio 1450. Enter to the scene is one Todd Starnes, but I have one item before we get to the debate, if Todd will entertain it. Todd, how are you, my good friend?
Harry, Hurley, always a great day to hang out with you and our friends in Atlantic City.
You know it, brother. Now, let me ask you something other than the debate, because I don't think this has ever happened in American history. A sitting president of the United States compared Republicans to the Ayatollah and to hardliners in Iran. It is beneath the pale of any political discourse. Do you agree?
This guy is despicable. He's a disgrace, and a few other words that I cannot mention on the radio right now, Harry. I'm reading. It is just, you're right, it's beyond the pale that a sitting president would compare any American to those Islamic jihadists marching in the streets over there shouting death to America, death to Israel.
Now, you know, if a Republican, it wouldn't even have to be that prominent. If a Republican said some comparison to Barack Obama and compared him to, take your pick any despotic leader, that person would be haunted by the media. They would be browbeaten. Are you ready to apologize? Are you going to apologize? Crickets, my friend, crickets.
Well, I'll take you one further there, Harry, since we're down this rabbit hole. Memphis, Tennessee had a police officer shot and killed in the line of duty. Last night in Shreveport, Louisiana, we had a police officer shot and killed in the line of duty. Where is the president? Where is his administration?
Right.
Holding the press conferences, rallying the troops, marching in the streets. Where are the headlines? And I'll tell you what, there was not a headline in the New York Post a few days ago that said black suspect shoots white police officer. Didn't see that headline in the New York Times.
Right, because you know the politically correct narrative right now is if it is not a white officer that kills an African American, it does not even get covered. It's because we're living in an environment where only some lives matter anymore.
Yes.
Pretty sad, isn't it, my friend?
It is pathetic, and it's a disgrace what this president has done to our nation. He has divided us. And look, when you go back even through Obamacare, you remember how they were trying to get people to support Obamacare? When you go back home for Thanksgiving dinner, start an argument with your uncles. You remember that stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Harry, this presidency, this White House, they wanted to divide us. State against state, North against South, brother against brother.
Rich against poor, black against white. And boy, hasn't Obama been successful? It is Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals on steroids. It really has been very effective.
It has.
Sad to report. The one question about Hillary, and then we'll get to the because I know we have about 11 minutes with Todd. Todd's got to get out of here right at 10. Now, Hillary, they tried to pull off this canard. Oh, Hillary's server is under civil investigation. No, I would think this is criminal investigation, Todd. The FBI, in rare circumstances, will do certain little civil things once in a while. This is a criminal investigation. Don't you agree?
Oh, I sure do. I saw that. I'm like, well, when was the last time a piece of computer equipment got indicted?
I know. It's insane.
Meanwhile, Miss Hillary, as I call her, Miss Hillary, is back down south, and Harry, she is invoking her Southern accent.
Oh, again. Yes, she did, and yes, she does. What is this, like a level of just suspension of belief, unconsciousness, where she'll have this fake African-American dialect? It's such an insult. This phony Southern drawl. Give me a break.
Harry, we have a saying back home in Tennessee, where I'm from, that we're afraid that Miss Hillary might be a little touched in the head.
I love it. I love it. All right, Todd, as you know, I spent 2 years of my life welcoming Donald Trump every Friday to a hotel that I ran for him. I was his senior hotel executive of one of his hotels. I know Donald better than I know you, and I know you very well, and we have met. And we've kept company for a lot of Mondays for, a couple of years now. I know Donald very well. I am not surprised that the first and only time that he has had a serious run for president that he has created this kind of stir. I also think it is the unique convergence of a populace that is tired of the institutional body politic and the scripted teleprompter lines of political correctness, and Donald is daring to be different, but also daring to say what the American people want to hear. And he's smoking this field right now.
Oh, he is. And I was having this conversation with two of the youngsters in our family who are lifeguarding down on the beaches there in Atlantic City, and they were heading to work, and they had just crossed over Hurley Way, one of the fine streets there in South Jersey.
Thank you, brother.
Did you like how I wove that in there, Harry?
Fantastic. You're a genius.
We're professionals. Don't try this at home, people.
I love it.
But anyway, we were talking about Donald Trump and how his message is not just resonating with the base, with conservatives, but it's also resonating with young voters who see that Donald Trump isn't just speaking out his wazoo, if you will, when he talks about creating jobs. He's actually done that. He has created jobs. And so at this point, at this stage, he hasn't released any specifics about, for example, how he would get Mexico to pay for the border wall or all this kind of stuff. But you know what? It doesn't matter because people are believing what he's saying.
Right. Just that he is acknowledging a problem and saying that he will correct it. When no one else is even acknowledging the problem, he stands out. And I'll tell you, Drudge has just posted something. It's a link to a Politico story, and Jeb Bush has come out very, very hard. He used a word. It's not one of the words you can't say on radio. I choose not to say it. We'll say the last part of the word is whole, as in HOLE, and the first part of the word would be an early letter in the alphabet. Have I drawn a roadmap, Todd?
Yes, or else you could call it a wazoo.
Yes. Keister, several different things. So I think that the institutional candidates are confounded by Trump. And what do you think tonight is going to bring? Because sometimes the law of unintended consequences could come into play, or it could go completely differently. A lot of people think that there's going to be a lot of attacks against Trump. Maybe that won't happen tonight, Todd. What do you think?
First, I want to say this, and I mean this in great respect. I know the people who live in South Jersey and Atlantic City, and I have family that lives in Egg Harbor Township, and Harry, the people in South Jersey have a lot in common with the folks back home in Tennessee and the South. We all share the same common values. It's the big cities, I think, that are the anomalies. And within the Republican Party, I believe the establishment Republicans are the anomalies. I think that the rest of us are really, truly conservative. And I think that's one of the reasons why Donald Trump's message is resonating.
Yeah.
We don't see any other candidate speaking with the same passion, speaking with the same language that you and I use. Even though he's a bazillionaire, he still connects with the common man, the working man, the working woman. And I want to say this, at the end of the day, I believe that your listeners and my listeners and my readers, they want a pit bull in the White House. They don't want one of these metrosexual purse poodles.
Well said, Todd. Todd, we're not even going to get into the kitty table because we don't have time, but out of the top 10 in the 5 minutes that we have, obviously we've talked about Trump. Everybody's talking about Trump. Even the candidates who ignored him are now having to talk about Trump. They They can't not talk about him. The only time Lindsey Graham even was noticed was when he was talking about Trump, and he's at 0. You and I could get better than 0, Todd. If we said today we were running, we'd get better than 0. He's at 0, which is unbelievable. That's a hard accomplishment.
Yeah.
But
look, I was personally hoping for a mixed martial arts cage-style debate. I thought that would have been more, but the bosses weren't too keen on that idea.
Do you think? I think that Megyn Kelly. And these are people you know personally. I just know to see them. Megyn Kelly, Brett Baer, God forgive me, and Chris Wallace. I was going to leave one out. I think they're going to be tough tonight. You know, people think, oh, this is Fox News. It's going to be easy. They're planning on being tough, I think.
Yes, they're going to go at it, and they're going to do a great job. You know, one of the things one of the candidates I think is being hurt the most by Donald Trump is your governor, Chris Christie.
Because he would have been the guy. His slogan is Chris Christie telling it like it is, 2016. And that's almost getting vanquished by Trump getting all the credit for telling it like it is.
And I got to tell you, you know, it hurts your guy. It hurts. I like Governor Christie.
So do I.
But it hurts him when he goes to Iowa and he tries to pretend like he's Jeb Bush. He needs to be Chris Christie.
Yes.
People identify with the bombast, but they also identify, you know, with his record. You know, he gets things done. But at the same time, he can't be we don't need a kinder, gentler Chris Christie. That's not what people are looking for.
Yep, I agree.
They're looking for authenticity.
Yeah, he's the change agent. All right, so we have Donald Trump, we have Jeb Bush, we have Scott Walker, we have Ted Cruz, we have Marco Rubio, we have Rand Paul, we have Chris Christie, we have Kasich, who I think getting in there at number 10 was a good thing. It's in Ohio. I think that's good for the debate. I've named almost all 10 off the top of my head. Do you think anybody that's in this top 10 could surprise us tonight, either with a great moment or like a Rick Perry, hey, I'm going to cut 2 departments when I become president: Department of Education, Department of Commerce, and I forget the third. And then that was the Dean scream.
It was the oops.
Yes,
the oops moment.
And he did oops. He even said oops. So oopie doopie.
So what happened? So now Rick Perry is at the kids' table.
Correct.
So somebody's going to have to cut his meat tonight. So
you are so good.
I'm sorry.
You are so good.
So look, here's who I think is going to be the big deal. I think Ben Carson, if he could come out of here as a person that people are watching, because look, he's doing very well in the polls, and he is doing very well in the fundraising area. But I think Carson's got that possibility. I really want to see if Mike Huckabee and Ted Cruz can step up to the plate. And here's the thing about Mike Huckabee, and really it's, again, this is talking about authenticity. Sometimes there's such a thing as too much. And I'm sorry, but the corn pone shtick doesn't play well when you're running for the president. So we need to see leadership from Governor Huckabee. We don't need to see the God, guns, grits, and gravy kind of side of the governor. You know what I mean?
I know that exactly what you mean, Brother Todd.
It's not
yes, it is not hee-haw. That was a very sobering assessment. And you're right. Ben Carson, who I left out of my top 10, I named 9. I forgot Ben. Dr. Ben Carson and Huckabee, they were like number 5 and 6 or number 4 and 5. They're right there.
And I want to tell you someone else who I love, but she's at the kids' table, and that's Carly Fiorina.
Me too. I swear to you.
She can go toe-to-toe.
I would love to have seen her in that debate. If she had made it into that debate, she would have made some noise tonight.
Yes, she would have. I think she would have. And look, Bobby Jindal. Honestly, I've been in situations where Bobby Jindal and Ted Cruz have been in the same room, and Jindal gets more applause and response and reaction than Cruz does.
So if you had to pick, let's not pick Trump, because that's all anybody's talking about, and not that that's boring. The reason they're talking about him is because he's who you want to be talking about right now, because he's making all the noise at the moment. But pick one person that you think. And you did say Ben Carson, but is there anybody else that you think has big upside tonight?
Maybe John Kasich.
I think you're right about that.
And I want to say this. Out of all the people up there who look like or who sound like Ronald Reagan, I think Kasich is the guy.
How about the only guy on the stage without a college degree, Scott Walker, in the third position? What do you think?
Oh, You see, I forgot about Scott Walker.
It's okay. That's why we're here.
And you know what?
We're backing each other up.
But you know what? I think that says a lot about Scott Walker.
That's a problem.
Yeah, and again, we have so many candidates. So I guess the bigger question is: does anybody get do we separate the chaff and the wheat?
I think unless Donald Trump has some incredible, memorable line like Reagan, I paid for this microphone, or on the flip side, some disastrous gaffe. Gerald Ford, when he, said something that was totally inaccurate from an international foreign policy standpoint, and that blew him up. Unless somebody makes a really bad gaffe, it's going to take, with 10 people, and the way this thing is going to be baked, that, what's that, 7 minutes a person? With the time you have an hour and 30 minutes or whatever, it's not a lot. So unless somebody comes up with something very memorable, I kind of think you can only blow it tonight. I don't necessarily think you can win it tonight.
I agree. And it's really about getting your name out there. That's what this is all about. So we'll see what happens. But I'm excited about this debate. I'm already frying up some chicken, got a jug of sweet tea ready to go.
I'm staying up past my bedtime for it, Todd. Yeah.
Me too.
All right, I know you've got to go, my friend. I want to respect you and respect your time. You are the best, and I love our partnership. And let's you and I reconvene after we know what happened tonight so we can chat about it sometime soon.
And, Harry, I do want to say congratulations on being elected to the Hall of Fame. I mean, you're just like a celebrity.
It's been a nice summer, hasn't it?
I'll tell you what, and all the weddings, good Lord.
I know.
You need some part-time work for the wedding.
Talk to you real soon, my friend.
Harry, take care.
You too. You're very kind. He is Todd Starnes, Fox News Channel and FoxNews.com All-Star. I am a mere humble public servant, a lowly mayor of the morning, Hurley in the morning, and we'll be back in 60 seconds.